Welcome back to Gale Force Winds Season 5.
Well, folks, here we are. It's Gale Force Winds, and I always talk about a very special episode. Well, from the setting, I think you can tell that this is a very special episode. My cousin Libby Carew said to me that there's a gentleman that she knows down in the harbor who's on his sailboat, and he's about to sail to Greenland, I believe. He's a very interesting gent. I don't know a lot about him, and that's the way we like it with Gale Force Winds. I sit on the edge of my seat, Christophe, trying to figure out what it is you're going to say next. First of all, thank you for joining us. Beautiful St. John's. Yesterday was 33 degrees. Today is pretty darn close to that. It's always like that here in St. John's, as you know, right? Always 30 degrees.
Yeah, that's the summer for St. John's, yeah.
Without any further ado, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about, where you are, where you came from, and what you're doing.
So where I come from, I'm coming from Pierre and Miquelon, which is not so far from here, where I work as a medical emergency doctor for, let's say, 4 or 5 months a year. And coming from France, from Alps, where I'm based in the hospital and working on the mountain relief in France, close to Grenoble.
Wow.
Grenoble, that's a town close to the Italian border.
Is that where you were born? Were you born in that area?
Yeah, that's my country, my place, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I grew up there and working there, but I'm used to move a lot.
Yeah.
But that's my port d'attache in French, the harbor where you are not so much, but where you come from.
Yeah. So you're saying that's in the Alps?
Yeah. In the mountains, yeah.
So how far above sea level would you spend, were you born well above sea level?
Well, not so much, 1,000 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
But around we have the Mont Blanc, it's 8,000 meters.
Yeah. Having grown up here, that's very high for me.
yeah, but I use also to be on sail, so at the sea level too.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what life was like growing up in that area of the world. What inspired you back then as a young person?
Well, I started to move since I was teenager, and even doing my medical studies, and then later most of my career. I've done it in outside of France, mainly in Africa, Middle East, States for two years only.
Yeah.
And that's
interesting.
More or less.
So when you were a young man or a young boy, did you always aspire to be a doctor?
I don't remember really. No, I think the idea came later when I was 18, maybe.
Really?
I stopped my studies for 1 year and working in the horses career, and then I came back to the school and decided at this time to become a doctor. So I started my medical studies pretty late compared with the others.
How old were you when your medical studies started?
I started at 20.
20.
And from 20 to, I'd say 30, I was on studies, but that was my medical schools, but I did a part of that in outside of France.
So you studied, you started though in France itself, your studies?
Yeah, I've got a medical diploma.
Yeah.
And then after, I went to States to have a specialty in epidemiology and public health to work in developing countries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you've been around the world as a medical doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some challenging places you've been in, I would imagine. Yeah.
Most of the time in Africa, it was in a country in conflict.
Really?
With emergencies, Médecins Sans Frontières, the famous association. So I'd say maybe 5 years or no, 2 years, and then after I went working for the United Nations, WHO and UNICEF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're in these conflict areas. Were you hands-on with people that were injured in conflict?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I've never actually spoken to anyone like my brother went to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I've had some
I've
stories.
never been in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Yeah. So, emergency doctor, right there, someone is injured and you're there working with them to help.
Yeah, you have African doctors, but during these conflicts, most of them are outside of the country because they have to fly with their family. So it's why they need, in such situation, to have agencies coming from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the emergency room in Africa, for example,
Yeah.
what's the predominant language spoken? Would it be French? Or
No, it depends.
Yeah?
It depends. In East Africa, that was English or local language. Like in East Africa, the main language is Swahili.
yeah.
And in on West Africa, mainly it was Portuguese. I've been working for 4 years in a Portuguese country.
So how many languages do you speak?
No, only one, the French,
Yeah.
and I try to speak English and Portuguese
Well,
my best.
You're doing a very good job on English. If this interview was in
Thank you.
French, it wouldn't
Thank
be
you.
very long. I can tell you that. So, what an incredible journey you've been on. So, if you were to say what one experience from your medical profession stands out from all the others, is there one in particular, or just some general feelings about what has impacted you?
Well, it's a difficult question. I don't see any main thing. In fact, working as a medical doctor means that you have to refresh every time in a lot of different areas, and it's changed always. It could be with a child, it could be the elderly people, it could be an emergency, or it could be chronic disease. There is no main purpose. In fact, each situation, each day at the same place, you change your way of working.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's even if you work in St. John's, you could have one day something, and tomorrow you don't know what could happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very various work. Yeah.
So your career has brought you to St. Pierre and Miquelon, and
That was just for the last 5 years.
5 years. You've been doing
Yes.
this 5 years.
5 years, yeah, and it's just a part of the year.
Yeah.
I split my time between two places, St. Pierre and Miquelon, and a small island in Pacific Ocean, which is called Lifu, close to Australian. It's in New Caledonia, and there I work as much more like a general practitioner
Interesting.
in a dispensary,
Yeah. What does it mean?
in a remote place. Yeah.
What does it mean to you, like different places in the world? What has that meant to you in terms of the impact on you as a person? Remote place in the Pacific.
Because I
St. Pierre is quite remote. You know?
Yeah. Remote area means that you have more diversity, more different subjects, and you have to take care longer than it is in a town of your patients, because you are in a remote area and you can't have help from the others until sometimes it takes time. So remote, it's a way to be in charge of more things, and to keep your patients longer to take care of him.
Yeah.
And then after, because why traveling, it's just because I'm curious. It's not because I'm. That would be the same if I was a joiner or any job. I love traveling. I love discovering culture that I don't know. I don't know, and meet new people and new cultures, mainly more cultures.
Interesting. I met a guy from France one time who told me, he said, I heard of St. Pierre before. And I said, how did you know of St. Pierre? He said, because I'd look at all the temperatures being reported in France, and it'd be 30, 5 degrees in St. Pierre. And
well,
everyone in France is, where is St. Pierre?
Yeah. There's still people in France that doesn't know, who don't know who is St. Pierre.
What I love about St. Pierre is, as soon as you get off the ferry, you meet the gendarme there, and it just...
Yeah, that's a piece of France.
It is
so caricatural.
It is, and the meals, and the food, and the bread, and the wine.
By the other way, the way of life, it's a mix of France and the North American way of life.
Yeah.
because of course it's close. It's very close. Geographically, it's a part of Canada.
Yeah.
You have it's an island of Canada, and politically that's a piece of France. So it's a mix. It's a mix. And it's nice. It's nice.
So you've contributed to your community as a doctor, but obviously you have a passion for something else, and that would be sailing.
Yeah.
Here we are on your boat. What's the name of your boat, by the way?
Houva.
Houva. Spell it.
Houva.
Okay, I'll get a shot of it and show it in the video. I would assume you have a passion for sailing as well. Tell us a little bit about when that started and what kind of passion you have for it.
So I think it started very early. I was still a kid, maybe 10 years or 14. Maybe I bought my first boat. I was 14. It was a small one, of course, but so it was almost for the same reason that I was involved in mountain climbing. It's a way, it's a tool. In fact, it's just a tool to go to reach natural and wild to go into the wild.
Well,
it could be mountains with your basket,
yeah,
or it could be with a boat. If you come in Newfoundland. Newfoundland, it's a paradise. You can spend your life to discovering Newfoundland. I went with my wife 2 years ago on the south part of Newfoundland.
You did that?
Oh yeah, it was wonderful. We spent weeks without in fjords. Like the boat was in Norway before 4 years ago, and it was very close to Norway with very scenic places, yeah, and a lot of animals. And when you meet meet someone there, it's so rare that you're so happy, and for them also. When, yeah, we were having a small village, all the village came to meet us.
Which village was it? Francois?
Saint-François, I've forgotten the name, but a very small village with people welcoming you like,
yeah, if
you are the brother or your brother. No, it's a nice place. Yeah.
I do want to do that area. What I don't think people realize how big Newfoundland is. If you look at it on a map, I mean, most people drive on the Trans-Canada. They don't go by boat.
Yeah, because
the south coast is completely unexplored, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can't if you don't have a boat. It's why, for me, the sailboat, it's a tool to reach places like that.
Yeah.
It could be in Norway. I've done that in Norway. It could be in Canada. It could be in the north of Iceland. All these places, and yeah, and it's the same in Pacific Ocean. There is, I'd say, on the Indian Ocean, I spent 5-6 years in Indian Ocean. We've got with my wife 2 children there in Mauritius, and in Indian Ocean you have half part of the island uninhabited.
Wow. Yeah.
So you don't understand why the people go all in the same place in a town.
It's funny, I was having coffee the other day and a young lady from Africa was chatting next to me with some other guy, and she was talking about, she had spent some time in Toronto.
Yeah.
And she said there's nothing compares to the fresh air of Newfoundland and the ability to hike and be part of nature. And I was really heartwarmed because I've grown up here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take all of this for granted.
Yeah.
But it's hard when you're sitting this close to the water to take this for granted, isn't it?
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
But so yeah, I can see why you fell in love with sailing, being able to go and fjords. Fjords I find absolutely fascinating.
And on board we have a kayak, a good one.
Do you?
It's folded.
Yeah.
It's folded. But it's a kayak. I would say it's better. It's better than sailing because with a kayak you can go everywhere. Yeah. And for a good kayak you can have your camp gears, all your things. You can spend 1 or 2 weeks in autonomy.
Yeah.
And on the Newfoundland, we were used with my wife to drop the boat in a safe place. That means at the bottom of the fjord, and take the kayaks and go and camping with the kayak.
How do you go back to work after doing something like this?
I love my work.
You do?
Oh yeah.
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 This allows you to do this.
Eh? Yeah. After I spent I was traveling 4 months in the north of Norway without working, just sailing. After 4 months, I came back to the work. I said, well, it's difficult to say what I prefer to work than to sail, because that was 4 months of sailing. After 4 months of working, I would prefer to sail.
Yeah.
So I have to change.
You're a very interesting guy. You've done a lot of interesting things. So let me ask you this. What is it that brings you to St. John's, Newfoundland? What is it you got on your agenda for the next few months?
Well, because it's on the way to Greenland. That's
Right.
the main reason. I'm used to come in St. John's almost, well, say, once a week to bring patients, because our hospital is a small one, so all our big emergencies come in St. John's.
And you travel with the patients.
And we travel with we have a small plane, and we travel with the patients. So I'm used to come, but I don't have the time. Of course, it's just dropping the patient to the hospital and going back.
Right.
But so yes, St. John's. It's for us. It's the main hospital. In fact, our main hospital, and we have a very nice cooperation between St. John Hospital. And it's very nice the way that they help us to take care of all the different specialties, surgery, medical stuff, intensive care unit, intensive care, coronarography, and heart surgery, all stuff for the kids. Also, there's a pediatrician hospital.
Well, that's nice to hear. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
it works. It works very well.
I don't think most Newfoundlanders really realize what you just said, that cooperation.
Yeah.
But like, we're so close. We're brothers and sisters, really, right?
The French from Pierre and Miquelon have the same access to the St. John's Hospital than the citizen of Newfoundland.
That's nice.
The same one.
Yeah,
The same
that's
one.
good.
Yeah.
So you're here in St. John's and you're
Yeah.
heading to Greenland, you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
When is that happening? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What time are you sailing out that Narrows?
Well, it's difficult first we're going to Saint Anthony.
Okay.
It takes 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It's not a very speedboat.
Yeah.
And then after, from Saint Anthony to Greenland, it takes let's say 1 week to cross.
Yep. Have you ever done that before?
No,
Never.
I never been in Greenland.
No.
No.
Have you ever sailed that far in the ocean before?
Yeah,
A week.
sure. Yeah,
You have?
sure.
Yeah.
I travel. I made several transatlantic alone.
Yeah.
Alone.
Alone?
Yes, because if you do that on the tropical areas, it's not dangerous, because you have electronic gears that help you to detect the other boats, which are very rare. The problem here on the north that's the ice, and the ice there is no gear. You have to have a man overview.
Yeah.
So I want to sail alone in these areas.
No. What is the ice situation this year? I know that early in the year there seemed
Yeah.
like a lot. Is it dissipated
Yes.
a little bit, or no? It's still out
Disappear,
there?
but there is a lot of icebergs,
Yeah.
and on the coast, the west coast is completely free, but the south part of the west coast of Greenland, which is where the point that we would like to, because that's the place where there is a lot of opportunities for climbing. Mountains with good stone and glacier also. This part is it's still covered by ice, so we have to go first a little bit to the north, and then progressively go to the south of Greenland, like that.
So when you sail, are you sailing north of Newfoundland, or are you going south to St. Anthony?
We're going to Saint Anthony,
Yeah.
and then from Saint Anthony we go direct.
But are you sailing out of St. John's and going on the north coast to St. Anthony?
Yes,
Not
yes.
the south would take too long.
No, it's too long.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
too long, and for the winds and all this stuff, it's better to use this way.
Are you going to stop at any point along the coasts in Newfoundland, or?
I would like, because it's a shame to go straight forward when you have so many things to see.
Yeah.
There's a question that we have an appointment with another team in Greenland in 12 days.
Really?
So we have to go, yeah.
So what are you doing with another team? It's just you're meeting up, or are you
Well,
actually...
the two guys who are with me now, they will come back to Europe. They arrived yesterday at night from France, and they are going back to France in let's say 2 weeks.
Yep.
And the people who are coming, the three people who are coming are more climber than sailor.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They're coming for climbing.
So are your crewmates? So the ship is going. Your vessel is going
Yeah.
to Greenland. Where
Yeah.
are you going from Greenland? Back here? You taking
No,
it back? Or?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's a lot of options. I could drop. No, I don't think I will come here because it takes time. And so I think I will drop the boat on ground. So I will remove from water as I'm used to do it. I will do it on. It could be done in Greenland. It could be done in Iceland, or it could be done in Scotland.
So you'll
I would see.
overwinter the boat
Yeah.
in that place,
Yeah.
and then go back and
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Yes.
That's exciting. How
Yeah.
excited are you about this trip?
Well, that's a nice project.
Yeah.
It took me a lot of time to prepare, to have the boat ready for that. It's a lot of work. A boat is like a house.
Yeah.
There's so many things on the boat that you have to check before leaving.
Yeah.
90% of any expedition, it could be a mountain climbing expedition in Himalaya, in the desert, in Sahara, or at sea. 90% of the expedition, it's on the preparation.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, so your wife is not on this particular trip.
She's done a lot.
Yeah.
Now maybe she's a little bit fed up in that. She loves to come to join me but not for crossing the ocean.
It's a big one, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, and also she has a phobia. I'd say a phobia. She's really scared of polar bears. So in the places where there is polar bears, she doesn't want to come.
No.
It's like that.
I get it. Yeah. So before we go, you mentioned you have two sons.
I have two daughters and one son.
Two daughters and one son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have they sailed with you a little bit?
Yeah. They are good sailors.
They got the bug like you did, eh?
Maybe not so much, but they have a pretty good training for ski. The base for education was skiing, climbing, sailing.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious that you're in incredible shape. As I said to you, I walked down to this interview today because I'm trying to get rid of this here. Very important.
Sailing is not so difficult physically. It's a question of being able to spend nights on the bridge to watch things like that. But physically, a boat like that is very easy to manage. Yeah. Very easy.
What do you do for your fitness while you're on for so long? Like, do you do push-ups, or how do you keep fit?
Well, I practice yoga every day. I love yoga. Discover that, and also running. Yeah. Not some small competitions, but I love running. Yes.
But when you're at sea, you can't run. What do you do to stay?
No, you don't do so much. Yoga, you can if it's not the sea is not too rough.
Yeah. So you're not working on your cardio while you're at sea.
Yeah, at sea it could be physical if you have to winch or stuff. Yeah. But it's not really sport.
Yeah. At this point, I want to show a video I shot of Christophe climbing the mast. We're talking about fitness, and it's quite obvious to me, and the reason I went down this road is how fit Christophe appears. Well, this video that you're watching right now is Christophe climbing the mast. He's also a mountain climber, growing up in the Alps. He loves to climb. I'm going to just let this play. For those listening on audio, you're going to want to go to our YouTube channel and watch this. Christophe climbs to the top of the mast, and I've never seen anything like it. Well, Christophe, you know what? This is, it's been an interesting chat. It's starting to rain a little bit here now.
Yeah.
When we sat here, I said, yeah, I think we could do this.
Yeah, you're right.
The weather has changed pretty dramatically here. It's still warm. We always, when we do these interviews, we ask for people to give a piece of advice. You're a person who's, you're a medical doctor, you've traveled around the world, you've been in conflict zones. What advice would you give someone about life in general or anything that comes to mind?
Wow.
I know, that's a big one. We leave the
It's
big
a
one
big
for
one.
last.
Yes, I see. Well, it's something that I was used to tell to my children, and I'm not only to my children, and say that first thing is to dream. Start by dreaming, and after try to realize your dreams. That's it.
Brilliant. Well, I wish you all the best on your voyage.
Yeah.
Going out that Narrows tomorrow, and you're going to St. Anthony and over to Greenland.
Thank you.
I think you're an amazing guy, and just keep up the great work. Thank you for joining us on Gale Force Winds.
With pleasure.
Thank you.
With pleasure. Thank you for your welcome.
If you're watching this video on YouTube, the pictures that you're now looking at were taken by my cousin Libby Carew, and they are taken on the morning of July 5th, 2025. Dr. Christophe Laniece's team, his crew, sailing out the Narrows for Greenland. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning in to Gale Force Winds. That's Gale Force Winds, WINS.com.